Hello, everyone, and welcome. And we're so happy to have you with us. First of all, we're going to ask you to mute your phones in the entire duration. At the end, we'll try to take some questions, but it's going to be 90 minutes of fast and furious, and because we've got a lot of great content. And so we do welcome you all, and thank you for joining us for a great webinar today that we know you'll find it to be such. Don't think that anyone on here missed out on the fact that the Solution Showcase and Strategic Summit in Tampa on October 3rd and 4th was totally a hit and has definitely resonated across our management future of work ecosystem. And we're so glad to have you here. So you can hear from these great speakers. I have to tell you that a couple of people who are traditionally very active in the IDP and digital transformation industry came up to me during the event in Tampa and in similar fashion to the other one said, Craig, AIM has really managed to get the next gen of the industry as sponsors and presenters for this event. And they went on to say, we can tell that these are the companies that their solutions are born in the AI age. They speak a different language of the companies that we traditionally hear of, and their solutions take care of the customer problem in exciting and very different ways. And I think that sums up what you're going to hear today. So it's really, if you know these books, okay, it's time to toss Jeffrey Moore and these books away, 1991 books, and realize that AIM doesn't see it as a chasm anymore. AIM has built a bridge as a thought leader and provoker of innovation for AI and for the work process and the process of future of work. And we're looking forward to telling you more about that innovation today. And here's Tori Miller-Liu, CEO and President of AIM International, to kick things off.
Thank you, Craig. Go ahead and share my screen with everyone. So, as Craig said, my name is Tori Miller-Liu, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm the president and CEO of AIM. And I'm really pleased today to be able to share some of my takeaways and a retrospective on the event that we had in early October in Tampa. It was a great event for me personally because I feel like it encapsulated this idea that community and knowledge sharing are really essential right now as we're all trying to navigate artificial intelligence and the post-pandemic world. We need this kind of knowledge sharing. So I'm utterly grateful to the AIM Florida chapter and the wonderful sponsors we had from that event who are on the call today, because they've really positioned themselves as local leaders and community builders. And they are exactly the type of members that we really value at AIM because they're providing that invaluable peer support and knowledge to the community. So thank you all for the work that you did to put this event on. To tell you a little briefly about AIM, we were founded in 1944, and we are the world's leading association dedicated to the information management industry. Our vision is that information management is a part of every single organization. And we achieve that vision through providing programs and certification throughout the year. So you can check us out at aim.org. I also encourage you to check out the wonderful AIM Florida chapter at aimfl.org. But let's get into some of my key takeaways because I only have 10 minutes and I know Aaron's going to get out a hook at some point. So my two takeaways are actually two really big questions. One was, and don't forget to mute yourselves just for the sake of everybody else. So my first question was, what does information management look like in the artificial intelligence renaissance? And just a little side note, I'm deliberately using the word renaissance because I want to recognize the fact that the information management industry has been working in artificial intelligence for over 2 decades. What we're seeing right now is sort of the end of winter, if you will, where generative AI has really amplified the innovation and acceleration of the adoption of artificial intelligence. So I prefer to call it the AI Renaissance. The other big question is, how should AIM evolve to meet the future needs of our members? So I had 2 kind of ways to attack this, which I'll take you through. One are some of my key takeaways from the solution showcase itself. So I'm going to share my two takeaways from two of the presentations. The first was a panel discussion that was moderated by Kramer Reeves and featured Ron Cameron and Karen Hobart. And then I'll also give you a couple of takeaways from the keynote speaker, Chris Sardak. So one thing that really jumped out to me in the panel discussion is confirmation that there really is a need for artificial intelligence right now. For the last 5 to 10 years, we've seen this complete exponential growth in the volume of information and data. And between that and system sprawl, which I think we've all experienced in our own organizations, there's this massive amount of data that's being generated on a daily basis. If you were paying attention to some Microsoft news over the summer, at one of their events, they said that over 2 billion files are added to SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams every single day. Between that and I think it's about 2.5 trillion bytes of data that are created every day, we have so much data that it's not really possible for humans to manage that much volume on our own. So there you go, is a perfect use case for artificial intelligence. We also are seeing system sprawl within our organizations. Our industry watch report from early in 2023 indicated that about 78% of survey respondents feel that technology usage is driving this vast volume of data. So it's all sort of interrelated. And then finally, we're also seeing this lack of interoperability across all those systems. So systems are growing, but the integration and interoperability aren't necessarily there. These are all really great use cases, not just for information management, but also for AI. I think I also heard at the event a continuation of conversations around what are the obstacles to not just artificial intelligence, but also digital transformation. This chart you're looking at here is from our industry watch report, and we asked survey respondents, what are some of the things that are slowing digital transformation within your organizations? And I was interested in this data particularly because I felt like these obstacles to digital transformation are very similar to the obstacles that we're seeing for artificial intelligence. It's a lack of budget and resources. It's often a lack of a true strategy, especially when it comes to AI. And it's also an immature culture. We culturally within our organizations don't necessarily have the skill sets or mindsets ready and able to adopt AI. So that kind of leads me to some of the interesting takeaways from that panel discussion. What's next for digital transformation and intelligent information management? One is Ron Cameron made the point that generative AI is transforming software applications across our technology stacks. And I'm sure many of you have already experienced that, where an existing system you're using has adopted generative AI features and capabilities. So as a former CIO, one of the things that I used to point out to my bosses is it's not going to be like a 0-1 type of decision when we decide to adopt AI. It is often going to be introduced or imposed upon us by our existing vendors. So an important point there. The other thing is this idea that we have to focus beyond artificial intelligence and enterprise content management to more systems, more emerging tech like synthetic data, cloud hosting, and augmented reality. And Ron Cameron said this really interesting phrase that stuck with me, this idea of we at AIM and within our community have to widen the aperture. Just like you would widen the aperture of a camera, we have to think about all of the tools and methods that make up our profession, whether it's workflows, capture, or artificial intelligence. This third point about focusing on interoperability, I referenced that before, but we're moving beyond ECM, right? There's still many wonderful ECMs out there on the marketplace, but when we're seeing all this system sprawl, we're having to shift our focus to interoperability and not centralization. Centralization may be a fool's errand at this point, right? And then Karen Hobart made some really interesting points about the need for building and training our folks to navigate this AI renaissance, if you will. And she had this quote that I wrote down that I really like, that part of the job of information professionals is to help the AI give a correct answer. So we you might have noticed our theme for the AIM conference next year is Guardians of the Future. We're responsible for making sure that information is correct and safe and secure and all that good stuff. And then finally, this idea of better data. To have digital transformation, to have intelligent information management, you have to have good information from the get-go. And you have to know how to evaluate and vet and use the output of artificial intelligence as well. So that takes me to some of Chris Surdak's comments. Chris did a really lovely presentation on navigating AI, and there were some great takeaways. He shared this lovely quote from a World War II general named Omar Bradley that I wanted to share with the group in case you didn't hear it at the event. That this idea that amateurs talk strategies and professionals talk logistics. And I love that because I think, I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like I am bombarded with conceptual and theoretical articles about AI, how it's bad, how it's good, what it's going to do next for us. And there's not a lot of tactical knowledge. At AIM and AIM Florida, we're really trying to provide more practical advice on how you adopt AI, how you govern AI, et cetera, because I think that's where we as a profession need to be focused. We need to be focused on the logistics of AI and kind of get beyond the hype cycle, right? So some of my two big key takeaways from Chris's presentation was, one, training and maintenance are going to be absolutely critical. And I think that's a role that the information management industry can play within the AI renaissance. We know that the accuracy of ChatGPT is actually declining because the more bad information that it consumes from users, the frankly dumber it gets. So I think IM professionals going forward can play this role of training models so that the model itself and the output is not deprecated over time. Chris also had a lot to say about authentication. We know right now that trustworthiness is probably an unachievable goal for a lot of AI, but we can verify it for accuracy and authenticity. The questions there, though, are around, well, who determines the authenticity, and how can you be sure that a piece of information out of AI is actually authentic? Do we know the source of it? Does it have a watermark? So there's a lot of questions that are up in the air in that, but I think authenticity and accuracy are probably some of the biggest obstacles to enterprises adopting AI. So it's something that we at AIM really feel like we need to keep talking about. And then I'm going to switch gears to talk a little bit about the strategy summit and what we saw there. And what you might find with these takeaways is I think they're actually quite related to the solutions showcase takeaways from both the sponsors and our panelists and our keynote. So at the strategy summit, we shared a couple artifacts with attendees. One was this orthodoxy map. And Erin, I'm happy for this to go out to folks afterwards if they want to take a closer look at it. I'm not going to walk too deeply through this, but this orthodox map features 25 orthodox beliefs, which are deep-seated assumptions that we make about how the world works. And they're organized according to intensity, so how deeply those beliefs are felt, as well as influence. So what influence is it having over the decisions that we make as an association and as professionals? So that was one thing that we shared with folks to think about, well, okay, in this AI renaissance, in this digital transformation era, what's holding us back? What's preventing us from making progress, both as an organization and as individuals? The other thing that we shared was this foresight timeline. And this highlights some of the societal, technological, and industry trends that attendees at the event and those who've been actually working on this for months and months see as impacting our industry and our association between now and 2033. So it's actually quite a far outlook from a foresight perspective. So all that is to say that we went through this on site in Tampa with folks and had some really lovely conversation about, well, what does that mean for AIM? How do we evolve as an organization and as a practice community? some of the things that jumped out at me from those conversations is one, our strengths. And, I love starting with like a positive thing. It's fun to pat yourself on the back. So one, I think within our community, we really have a strong focus on technology and foresight. And then two, we also have a really strong focus on problem solving and practical solutions. I think that's one of the reasons why you see solution providers as speakers on this call today. We highlight those solutions so you as end users can make knowledgeable decisions about your technology stack, about your strategy. The other thing that has been coming up over and over this year as we've been engaging in this year-long strategy conversation is the idea of practice over prioritization, or excuse me, practice over profession. And what's important to note here is we're talking about a prioritization and not a judgment call. So it's not saying that information management as a profession doesn't exist or is not important. It's just recognizing that today, what we're seeing at AIM is folks who don't necessarily have the title of information manager. They might have IT director as their title. They might be a legal aide. We're seeing a really diverse group of professionals coming to AIM for guidance and support within this community. And really, it's like-minded people in information management who happen to also have an affinity for technology. That's kind of the persona that we attract. So I think Karen Hobart said it quite well in her panel discussion that information is not a role, it's a need. And that sort of stuck with me. So this idea that it's a practice before a profession. The other takeaway I had is that the role of information management is becoming more strategic by necessity. So I heard a lot of folks talk about information management as a title is reactive, and it sounds less strategic than what's actually true these days, where you need someone who thinks strategically, who can lead change so that we're preparing for artificial intelligence, so that we have robust governance programs. And then finally, this idea that I've heard mostly from a lot of the solution providers is what's effective for talking about information management today is focusing on possibilities and opportunities as opposed to compliance. So CIOs, CEOs are making a lot of purchasing decisions based off of where is the opportunity here, as opposed to what is my risk here. And finally, I will leave you with this. Hopefully I did okay on time, Aaron, but Chris had this lovely quote that I think really encapsulated the event, and also where I hope we go as a profession and a practice going forward, that we are the brakes on the car. We are the engineers that get the spaceship safely to Mars, and we are the guardians of the future. So I hope you all enjoyed those takeaways, and I think we're on to the next speaker.
Thank you, Tori.
Thank you, Tori. That was great, and great recap. So I'd like to introduce everyone to Kevin Neal. And Kevin is CEO and founder of P3ID Technologies. And Kevin, take it away. And I believe you'll be joined as well by Larry Cohn.
Larry Cohn, yes. Tori, Aaron, and Craig, thank you so much. The Solution Showcase and Strategy Summit was awesome. Tori, thank you for having us as part of your meeting in the afternoon. I thought that was especially interesting. I know a lot of the technology companies, but it's always good to be part of the future. So it's really awesome. My name is Kevin Neal with P3ID. I'll be joined, as Craig said, by Larry Cohn from Business Process Automation. And we've got a great presentation today, 10 minutes of a great case study by one of Larry's customers. So first of all, let me just introduce myself real quickly. I'm a longtime industry veteran of the information management industry. I've worked at a leading hardware scanner manufacturer. I've also worked at a leading software company in the business. And to Tori's point about interoperability really isn't good in our industry. And this whole time that I've been in this industry, I've seen very poor integrations mostly. So this is the problem that P3 is solving. We're creating modern solutions for cloud environments that are highly scalable, interoperable, and secure. So let me let Larry introduce himself, because he will be the featured presenter today on his case study. So Larry, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for a second here?
All righty. First, it was great to attend the event in Tampa. I've really enjoyed it. Got to see a lot of old friends and make a lot of new friends. I've been in the technology space since the 80s, So as Kevin said, he's been around a while. That's nothing to match up with selling 70-pound hard drives back in the 80s. But my concentration has been for the last 30 years in automating business processes to make companies more efficient, more compliant. And as more technologies came available and were created, it only got better and easier to prove out the benefits of these technologies to the customers. So as we travel through this, probably 8 minutes left, when I come back to me, I will go ahead and go through the solution that we presented in Tampa.
Beautiful. Thanks, you, Larry. So just a few minutes about P3ID technology. So as I mentioned, we are making a modern cloud platform. So things like multi-cloud environments and containerize or Kubernetes, or being able to let your application auto scale or load balance for disaster recovery, to reduce vendor lock-in, to be able to run it on premise or a mixture of these cloud environments. This is really at the core of what we've done. When I started P3ID, was that foundationally, the technology has to be solid. It has to be a cloud-first architecture. So this is very key to what we're doing. You'll see some other technologies out there that are a Windows server, but that's not scalable. It's not load balanced. So this is very important. So from an architectural standpoint, that's a very key point, is that we're multi-cloud. The second thing, we're a cybersecurity company that happens to know a little bit about information management and capture. That's the way I like to kind of summarize our company. So we're very focused on security from the very beginning. And as an IT administrator myself for many, many years also, I always had to balance the need for cybersecurity to protect the data, but also accessibility for the users. So this is a very key thing. And to Corey's point about deepfake resistance and synthetic content and all these regulations around generative AI, this is a big deal. And there's going to be security and authenticity and provenance kind of technologies rolled into our solution. So this is just a couple examples of secure erase, image encryption, blockchain, all kinds of adding manifests to image files. So I just want to say we're a cybersecurity company that's very focused on imaging. So let me turn it back to Larry and let him articulate this great case study that he had for one of his customers, and then I'll wrap up.
Thanks, Kevin. So as you see on the screen, my client's name is Alamitos Group, and they're a large holder of multiple franchises, approximately 41 automotive centers, primarily in California, with a few in Arkansas. They came to me with a problem after I had worked with the organization prior to the existing CFO. And they understood the need to be able to digitize and capture and archive all of their sales invoices, as they're required to retain these for 5 years. So what they were doing up until the time we started discussing and then providing a pilot to them to test out the theory of what I had designed, they were saving all of these documents in bankers' boxes, and once a month having a storage company come and pick them up to archive them at the storage company's facilities. Well, it got to the point where they were expending over $7,000 per month to store the documents without any direct immediate access to them should they need them for warranties or litigation or any other need that they needed from individual sales. So what we did is we put in a pilot using a network scanner that enabled us to use the technology of auto indexing with that scanner to provide store number, date, and document type. And they had just started with the invoice documents. It's expanded now into HR documents, delivery documents, and internal documents, and automatically capture, automatically index, and then upload to in this case, an on-premise document archiving solution. We talked about doing a hosted or on-prem, and they selected to do it on-prem on their own cloud. So after the initial pilot, we installed, and one of the key things of this installation was it took 10 minutes to install and train at all 31 sites, one at a time, and more time to travel between all of the sites. What you're seeing now is an added service that we are providing with Kevin monitoring and providing these reports on a daily basis, so that the corporate office can know which sites scanned, when they scanned, and if they didn't scan, they have a person who just sends out an email saying we're missing your documents. So this keeps them informed and up to date to make sure that all of their data documents are captured and available in the archive as soon as the end of the business day. And if they haven't, they take care of it the next business day. As you can see, out of all the stores and all the times, we had a situation where the red being canceled and redone, yellow being it's in process of being accepted, or, you know, in this case, not scanned. So it's a service-based solution that's also providing them compliance, security, and access to their documents.
Beautiful. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, it's been a great case study. So really appreciate you know, your friendship and your business, Larry. So fantastic. And they couldn't be happier. So just to wrap up on P3i technology, so we continue to innovate. So I just want to say our solution is also for ISVs and software developers. So we just announced an offering where we have a hosted API web service to create scanning applications. So we're for ISVs, so we're an integrated solution. And it's also simple. We've created Xerox has actually bundled our software with their Twain Direct compatible scanners. Dana Showers from Verb has a capture application that has a Twain Direct interface into his application. He'll be talking about that a little later. But we actually have an offer for you, whether you're a software developer or whether you're an end user or corporate and want to use this stuff. On the top portion here, this is the offering for software developers and ISVs. We offer a hosted web services for the Twain Direct API. All you do is just go to this URL right here, p3idtech.com/products equals API. And there's 3 offerings. One for commercial businesses. Your software developer can come in and create a commercial application for your business. The next offering is for Twain Working Group members, either the existing membership or new members that come in, or you can give a discount code to an ISV that wants to develop with your hardware. So there's a discount for Twain Working Group members. Then also we're offering a free service for students and nonprofits on behalf of P3ID and the Twain Working Group. We will subsidize that as long as you tell us a little bit about your project. So we have 3 different offerings for software developers. It's really easy to get started up. Then you get a developer's keys. You can literally start developing in 5 or 10 minutes. We proved this point at Twain Direct Developers Day last year. It was really wonderful. Dana was there and there was other ISVs there. They said it was really easy to integrate with Twain Direct. So that's number 1 offering. Number 2 offering is our technology adoption program. So if you're a corporate and you want to actually try this technology, so you just say, hey, I want to get a few scanners or want to get a scanner. I don't want to try to my accounting department. So say, okay, we'll spin up the environment. Just takes us a few minutes. So it's ready and we'll ship you a scanner. It takes more time to ship the scanner, but you'll get the scanner even if the next day, for example. You basically hook it up. It's a 5-minute process, like I just showed here. You just go to a web interface, it's hooked up, and then you can actually start scanning documents in your own environment. So this is the offering. I want to be on time. So Larry, thank you so much. If there's any questions, then Larry and I will answer them for a minute here, or we can table them till the end.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Larry. Great presentation, and always great seeing you guys. I'm now going to turn it over to, do you have everything ready and loaded and to get everything up on screen, Aaron? We're going to have a presentation from...
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, today we're going to talk about taking control of your file shares. We all have M365, we have SharePoint, we have Teams, we have a lot of these other systems that are out there. But one thing that has persisted is file shares, the traditional place where people will double click on a file, make their change, and click save. So what I'm going to talk about today is this, what we'll call legacy technology that still people love, that works with every one of their applications. And we'll talk about the modern challenges associated with this technology, steeped in the context of other newer systems like your SharePoints, like your Teams, like your OneDrives. Now, of course, we are concerned about file shares because they're probably on hardware that might be aging. There might be concerns about findability associated with it. Obviously, security concerns, people don't know what's in there. So they think, oh, well, what might make sense is to move it to some other system. But what we found is because of the legacy of people loving to use this, the fact that they know where their content is, the fact that it does work with their applications, it's very prohibitive to move everything off of these file shares into maybe into OneDrive or into SharePoint or these other systems. So what you generally end up happening is you'll have SharePoint and file shares. You'll have OneDrive and file shares. So what we're suggesting is let's unify this problem and say, let's search across SharePoint and file shares and OneDrive. Let's find every redundant, obsolete, and trivial file across there. Let's find every privacy concern across there. Because the idea of just putting it all into SharePoint, because it has built-in data governance, because it has data privacy, because it has search, because it has version control, makes sense from an information governance standpoint. But we've proven time and time again, it just doesn't make sense for your users. And when you force them to do that, anything that you train them to do will often get rejected. They'll often work around it, and you're still on the hook for privacy, for cybersecurity, for your records management, for your governance. So that's why today we're going to show a different approach. We're going to show that you can eliminate redundant, obsolete, and trivial information across your file shares. And of course, everything I show you does apply to things like SharePoint and M365, and Teams, OneDrive, even systems like OpenText Content Suite and Box. These other systems will eliminate the duplicate content, obsolete content, trivial content, classify the content, find the privacy information, PII. We will monitor these locations for information governance opportunities and concerns. We can, once you mitigate this, once you actually identify what's on the file share, it's actually easier to then migrate if that's what you choose to do. And then, of course, you need search across all the systems. You can't just say you can only search inside of SharePoint. What you have to do is have a unified experience so that users don't have to care where the important content to do their job is found. So let's move into a product demo. I want to show you how easy it is to use software that 5 years ago would have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, would have cost lots of implementation time. Now we have packaged it up into a single button that does a lot of amazing tasks, and you'll see that happening live. So we're going to see how easy this is to do. You put in your location, in this case a file share, you click the big button. The system now is going to chew through this information, finding your privacy concerns, duplicate files, redundant, obsolete, trivial, and make it searchable. So right away, we can see the privacy dashboards. Think of credit card numbers, social insurance numbers, social security numbers, addresses, people's names. These are things that you need to continuously understand across your organization. We see where every concern is in every file, so you can start remediating this information if necessary. And of course, getting rid of information is important, knowing where every duplicate file is, every trivial file. And when I say trivial files, I mean inappropriate files, I mean temporary files, log files, all these types of things are just taking up space and you probably don't need them. We will flag them as appropriate and give you tools to remediate them as well. So going across, let's have a look at search. Now that we can find every word on every page and we have some initial classification of this information, now your users can find this data regardless of whether it's on your file share or other locations. They don't have to think anymore. They just get this Google-like experience. They type in what they want, they click the information that they want, and we even give the ability to enrich this data. So if you want to find something that's inappropriate, you can flag it. If you want to find something and classify it, you can flag it. So all of this happens in the background. You don't have to think about it. It is scheduled. It runs every day, each task. We find every new file, we get the text from the file, apply the rules to these files, and you get this outcome without having to think about it, without having dedicated IT staff. The software is doing the things that it would have taken a team to do years ago. It's just doing now, running a lot like virus scanning. So everything that you saw there today is included in our software package called Shiny Docs Pro. You do not require dedicated IT. You don't require a lot of specialized hardware to run this. You have your choice of on-prem, hybrid, or cloud in order to have continuous identification of privacy, continuous identification of redundant, obsolete, and trivial information, and the ability to search across multiple systems, including your file shares, your SharePoint, your Teams, your OneDrive, and a lot of other enterprise content management systems. All of this is for $3.44 an hour, which works out to $30,000 US per year. It's kind of a no-brainer. You cannot possibly hire somebody to do this work continuously for that amount of time, and it really sets you up to do the best understanding of your information, continuous identification of that information, and allows you to prepare for things better, like audits, like cybersecurity compliance, like privacy compliance, and even prepare your data for utilization in AI. Because the last thing you want to do is put somebody's personal information into your AI engine. Last thing you want to do is put redundant, obsolete, trivial information into there so that your generative AI is actually spitting out incorrect information. So all of this is included in Shiny Docs Pro for $30,000 per year. So thanks a lot for having a look today. Obviously, if you want to find us, go to shinydocs.com.
That was really great. And our appreciation to Shiny Docs for not only being a sponsor at the highest level, but also for all of their contributions to AIM and the AIM Florida chapter. All right, so Aaron has a presentation ready to go. Aaron?
Yes, from
Knowledge Lake. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bart Peluso, Vice President of Marketing for Knowledge Lake, and I'm very excited to talk to you today about intuitive AI for information management, specifically document processing. Generative AI is known as the most disruptive technology in almost 30 years. AI is a powerhouse when it comes to analyzing data. In fact, it can analyze more data in a minute than a human can in an entire lifetime. The world's first AI university was opened in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates in 2019, dedicated entirely to advancing artificial intelligence. AI is more prolific than we think. Over 77% of the devices we use daily are powered by AI in some form or another. But today we're going to talk about generative AI, which is completely changing how we work and how we live. But first, what is artificial intelligence? It is the science of making machines that can think like humans. At the top level, AI is a program that can sense, reason, act, and adapt. At the next level, it uses machine learning, which are algorithms whose performance improve as they are exposed to more data over time. At the core is deep learning, which is a subset of machine learning in which multi-layered neural networks learn from vast amount of data. Now, I'm sure you've heard of these LLMs, or large language models. By large language models, we mean trained AI using deep learning techniques on massive amounts of data. I'm talking all the data in the world: books, websites, academic papers, online forums, news, media, conversational data, and on and on. And 96% of companies from a recent Gartner survey intended to use this notion of generative AI. Large language models are what make generative AI work. I bet you heard about this thing called ChatGPT. Do you know what it is? Let's break down ChatGPT. First, the G is for generative, meaning it has the ability to create or generate something with the means that can be in the form of human text or graphics, right? It generates, it's generative. Secondly, it's pre-trained, and that means it's built from relationships between words, grammatic rules, and other linguistic patterns so we can understand it. The T stands for transformer, and that means it's designed to process sequences of data, such as words in a sentence. Here at Knowledge Lake, we use Microsoft's instance of ChatGPT from OpenAI, and we use it during the document processing. I'd like to give you a few examples, but first, I want to say because it's Microsoft's instance, there is built-in security, meaning the queries that the user makes do not go out into the internet, into the public domain. They stay within the tenant, the cloud tenant of the user. Furthermore, all the data being processed stays within that tenant. So what we did is took real-time generative AI and baked it into the document processing flow that you see here. We call it intuitive AI for document processing. Whereas traditional document processing was like college math. You went in and you programmed it to pull an invoice number. And if the invoice number didn't exist and it was called something else, maybe a sales number, you went ahead and programmed that in. It's college math. If P, then Q, rules-based. Intuitive AI accurately extracts and summarizes meaningful information. It identifies patterns and correlations within content and suggests actions and highlights anomalies. Ultimately, it enables data-driven decisions. The example you see here is a 200-page legal document. While processing the document, and we could always pull that case number or different pieces of data from that document, but here, while processing that document, the user is going to ask AI to summarize the document in a paragraph or two, and then that just happens instantly, saving hundreds of hours of human work when extrapolated across all legal documents. But it's not just for summarizing these long documents. It can also be used for things like invoices. So today in document processing, we can pull invoice numbers, we can pull due dates, and we can pull prices. But with generative AI, we can ask it, how much did the chair cost from this company? And who knows, maybe we're talking a gigantic company like Disney, and they buy thousands of chairs. And you can inquire across all documents, what's the average cost per chair? What vendor has the best policies? Or inquire as to what is the earliest date that I could pay this invoice, or what is the latest date that I can pay without a late fee? It's the intelligence baked in. You know, not all documents can be processed using the old way of rules-based document processing. One thing that we found that is different amongst almost every company is the job offer letter. If you get a job offer, it can be really long. I got one once from Microsoft and it was about 16 pages. Or it can be short, just a paragraph or two. The vernacular changes. Here, Knowledge Lake is using intuitive AI to pull out information, not just from one job offer, but maybe from all the job offers in the company, doing comparisons and writing reports. And from there, it all flows, all that document processing flows into our workflow automation, where you can create a workflow for humans, for bots using our baked in robotic process automation, or however you want. The big difference here is what Knowledge Lake calls intuitive AI. That is making the document processing smarter and more human-like. We have a lot of great customers here at Knowledge Lake throughout many industries and some municipalities and large universities across the United States. We would love to share more information with you, and we invite you to a proof of concept. We can use faux documents or even yours and show you how this can help your organization become more efficient and more effective. To sign up, email my colleague, Pamela Benke at knowledgelake.com or reach out to knowledgelake.com. We look forward to working with you. Thank you so much.
All right. Great presentation, and thanks to Knowledge Lake for all of their great support, always a great team there. So now it's my pleasure to turn presentations over to TCG Process, and that will be Therrell Griffin and Eric Gold. And looking forward to hearing more of what they say about Doc ProStar. I'm certainly partial, but we'll let them tell you all more. Therrell, Eric?
All right. Thank you so much, Craig. We appreciate it. We all know the information processing challenge. We get documents from all different sources in all manner of different respects, structured, unstructured. It results in a lot of chaos. And of course, to address some of that chaos, various systems are cobbled together. You get an ecosystem that's really complex, archaic components trying to be merged with more modern components. And it does become a challenge. We all know what the challenges are in that respect. But at TCG Process, what we do is we use modeling and orchestration within our platform to be able to address those problem areas. Ultimately, what we want to do is collect information. We want to understand it so that we can classify and extract viable information from it. And then we want to act on that, either send it to a downstream system, further process it, archive it in a repository. But again, the fundamental core of that is modeling a process that will give you that ability and then orchestrating that process within your own ecosystem. Very few people have the appetite for a rip and replace type of system. And then there is no one system that does it all. So for the remainder of the presentation, rather than trying to show you every single aspect of our Doc ProStar product, we're going to answer a question. What if creating an AI-driven document process and then taking that process and placing it within your current ecosystem was actually easy? Well, with Doc ProStar, it actually is. Here we see our design interface, and this is where Doc ProStar really sets itself apart from other products, is in modeling intelligent document processes. You'll notice we're using familiar BPMN process notation, which we've been using now for almost 20 years. It allows us to rapidly model a process, and then without coding, using simple configuration, we can actually change elements of that process, its functionality, to do what we want to do. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to bring in two AI components, not just one, but two, because as we watch things change in the future, it's not that we're going to pull in one particular type of AI, like Azure AI, or some generalized GPT interface like ChatGPT. But as these large language models get more specific, more specified, there's going to need to be in the future to incorporate multiple objects within a process. So here in this particular case, we have a very simple process. What it's going to do is import files. It's going to normalize them. It's going to use Azure AI to OCR those documents. And then it's going to send it to Rick AI to do some AI analysis. And we'll kind of walk through what that looks like within the product. So first, we like to say we're source agnostic. Wherever these documents are coming from, email, from another system through a REST API, from a file folder system, wherever information is coming in, our product is able to grab that information and insert it within the process. We can monitor hundreds of mailboxes simultaneously, extract email attachments, send those on. Again, even receiving those from line of business systems directly. So it's not that DocProStar has to be the very first element of a process. It actually can coexist within an existing process. Perhaps your capture process is as you like it, and you want to use DocProStar for classification of documents and for extracting data. You certainly can do this with the modular approach to our platform. And again, some objects or activities simply require dragging onto the canvas, and they do what they do. In this case, we're going to convert the document to a TIFF or a JPEG, and then send it along in the process. Excuse me. Now let's talk a little bit about the AI component of it. In this particular case, we're sending it to Azure AI. And again, because we're agnostic as to the type of OCR or web services that we bring into a process, Amazon Textract, Google Vision, Azure AI, one or multiple of those can be brought into a process. That allows you to use best of breed web services to do what that process is intended to do. Perhaps some documents are better suited for one type of AI, OCR, and certain documents are better suited for another type. Those elements can be combined within a process, leveraging your investments more uniformly, and actually giving you best of breed functionality within the process, regardless of the supporting document type. How easily do we incorporate AI within the solution? Well, in this case, let's look at one of the configuration panels for one of the activities that we drug onto the canvas. In this case, what we want to do is summarize the contents of a medical document, and we want to extract certain key value pairs, but we also want to provide a summary. Maybe the operator has to make a decision based on that, or if you're thinking of like insurance underwriting documents, maybe you want to quickly summarize a document, again, to push it onto another process or make a decision. So in this case, using a familiar GPT natural language command, we say, let's summarize the patient's details. And that again is a configuration within the activity. And so the key value pairs are extracted as the document is processed. Also, you see there's a summary provided. That can actually get just a bit more granular. Perhaps there's some required fields that we need to extract, and we want to be a bit more granular in how we ask the AI system. What's the patient's first name, last name, doctor's first name, last name? Again, using natural language prompts, we can embed those into the configuration panel. No coding, no regex, no complicated mechanism to extract the data. And then, of course, we get those values. These are all surfaced in our check and act interface. This is our fully configurable user interface. No coding to get that. And again, we can surface information from multiple streams onto that one interface, from lookups, from different AI engines, from extracted values from the documents, putting the right information right at the operator's fingertips to quickly make business decisions. It really augments that human in the loop step. And again, we can export to any repository or multiple repositories. We're repository agnostic, and we can export that metadata into downstream systems for further processing. One other thing that we can do is, what if an operator is looking at a document here in our user interface? They've got the summarization, they've got the key fields, but they actually want to interrogate that. Think of underwriting, a big 50, 60-page reinsurance document, and there's some information the operator needs. They simply just ask the cobot the question, click the button, and again, the AI does the interrogation of all the extracted data, returning the correct answer. Really powerful feature within the product. So again, looking at that, we also have design and release management built into the product, work item monitoring. We can monitor SLAs. We can do process auditing within DocPro It's really a unified system that brings all of that together. It allows us to orchestrate not only the process, but also all of the elements, including third-party services that make up that process. So we go back to that question I asked right at the beginning. What if creating an AI-driven document process and orchestrating that process within your existing environment and your existing ecosystem was easy? And the answer is, it is. With TCG Processes DocPro this is just a small sampling of what you can do with configuration, not code. If you want to learn more, you can learn from some of our partners who are actually utilizing it for their clients, or if you'd like to reach out to us directly, maybe discuss a use case you have or see a more in-depth demo, would certainly be happy to do that for you.
Thank you, Therrell. And yeah, I recognize one of those guys there for sure.
Really nice looking guy too.
Oh, thank you for that. All right. So appreciate the presentation there. And now it's certainly my pleasure, and thanks to both of you. And now it's certainly my pleasure to welcome James Fisher from MyQ, and it's going to step us through their great print and document management. So, James, all yours.
Appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to try and stay under my 10 minutes. So my name is James Fisher. I'm the pre-sales manager for North America at MyQ. And MyQ is a software development company that's actually based out of Prague in the Czech Republic. We started there about 30 years ago. And have been working in the space of print and capture management now for those 30 years. And we've rolled out our solution across Europe, EMEA, and now into the Americas as well. So we've got about 120 people or so, and as mentioned, about 6 different branches, got over 1,000 certified partners, and 1 million connected printers in over 140 countries currently.
James, my apologies for the interruption. Were you meaning to share some slides?
Yeah, did it not?
Yeah, it hasn't popped up yet.
Okay, let me
just show you as a co-host.
I can try that again.
No worries. Okay, let's try this. I'm going to remove your privileges and then reinstate them.
No, I just got it.
Oh, I just took your privileges away. I'm so sorry. Oh, no, we're good. Okay. No, we're not. Okay. Just a moment. Here is James. Okay. Okay. Sorry, folks. You should see a prompt, James.
Yep, got it.
Great. We can see now. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so this was the slide I thought you were seeing, but apparently we're not. So I'm not going to recap that, but MyQ has currently 2 main products that are our focus. One is MyQ Roger, which is actually our most recent product, and it's a serverless-based technology that's really been innovated as a result of the last few years where folks were having to work from home and drive business process on their own terms. So being able to connect the remote work environment into kind of the traditional managed work environment. It is for mobile print and capture, and it's a multi-tenant public cloud solution. Traditionally, we've been focused more on MyQX, which is our server-based print, scan, and fleet management application. Also handles mobile print. It is a single tenant offering, and it can be delivered either on premise or in the private cloud. So really what we're going to look at for the most part is MyQX and talking about how it makes print and capture made easy. So really highlighting the fact that we're an agnostic solution. We work with virtually every major manufacturer that's out there in terms of your multifunction equipment. And MyQX is the first layer that sits on those devices because it's really the interface that's going to be present on those MFPs and controlling how the users interact with the device, regardless of the make model of that particular printer or multifunction device, allowing them to securely log in and be able to access scan applications as well as be able to retrieve their print. Additionally, we're able to support all of the existing applications and points of interface that users already make use of in their enterprises. So looking at Windows workstations, Android and iOS devices, Mac workstations or MacBooks, all of the basic email systems, whether it's Exchange Online, Gmail, traditional SMTP servers, and then of course, different types of repositories from the standard file storage systems to cloud applications, whether it's Dropbox, OneDrive for Business, Amazon S3, SharePoint, Google Drive, Box, as well as integrating things like fax services that your companies may be using. One of the things that we really like to focus on in a presentation like this, particularly when we're looking at the end user community, is the focus on our interface, because really what sets us apart is the simplicity of it and the fact that it is the same across all the makes and models. So you're not having to learn different device types. If you've got, a Ricoh, Xerox, and HP in your environment, we're able to display the exact same look and feel for the end user, regardless of where they're going within your environment, what device they walk up to. And, as this quote from Buyers Lab proves, it's not just our opinion. Independent testers have gone out there and verified the same thing. So what we're going to look at is actually a quick presentation or a demo of the application itself. So trying to break down really what we talk about when we're talking about personalization. So this is just a quick scenario where we're looking at a shared multifunction device that's by reception. So we're taking the roles of somebody who might walk up as a guest user, the front desk personnel, which may be a role that's filled by multiple people rather than a single named user. And then we're going to take the role of somebody that might be in a sales capacity, and then somebody that is a manager, whether it's directly of the salesperson or somebody else. It's just really to show how, depending upon who logs into the device, we're able to see completely different look and feel to the interface and the buttons and things that are specific to them. This is our MyQ interface, and this is actually from my device that I have at home. So this is a Ricoh 307, but it could just as easily be an HP or Xerox. And what we're seeing is logging in as a guest user and being able to lock it down so that user only has a button to allow them to do copying. This copying links directly into the panel capability of the device, but it syncs it down into a single button called Easy Copy. So it's only allowing them to do a black and white copy. Now, if we go to a front desk user, again, shared role, what we're going to see is that person has a number of different buttons that are specific to their role. So being able to release all their prints, being able to link directly into the panel copy so they can do more advanced copy functions of the device. I'll see this here in a second as it pulls up. And what we see on the devices that we have, all the native functions that they're used to, but we're not able to browse around within all the functions of that device. So we're able to keep our users' experience extremely streamlined and secure. Links us right back to the MyQ interface, and then they can be able to do other things like outbound faxing, scanning to shared folders, or scanning to things like a cloud drive, such as OneDrive. So now what we'll look at is a more role-specific user. So somebody in sales, for example. And we're going to see how they have access to different types of workflow. So here, now they are able to fax directly to customers. So we're going to be able to use a fax capability to send directly to specific address books. And let's see here on the fax number how we can be able to access that individual's fax address book, be able to send it to a specific fax number. And then they may have access to other specific workflows, such as being able to scan in sales quotes, sending out to their OneDrive, going to their own individual prints. Here you can see their individual print jobs, maybe a sales quote. And then being able to do things like scanning back to their email, which again is then provided by the authentication that we have at the device. One of the nice things that we do have is the fact that everything is token based in terms of our authentication. So when you log in as an end user, you're not having to be reprompted for any authentication information. It's being sent securely as that individual. So that can be used for cloud connections as well as email to send as a particular user or to go to their particular storage. And the last one is our manager. And the manager, again, just has different functions based upon what they would expect to see. So again, trying to keep the interface very simple. So there's not a lot of room for them to have to think about what they're doing. They can either print all their jobs, they can use a fax scan service like an eGold fax. They can be able to look through their individual print jobs. You can see here actually are all our ISO certifications sitting here in her print queue. And then they also have individual functions for things like scan to email, OneDrive, and the easy copy buttons back for them because they don't want to mess around with the panel copy. They just want to scan with one touch. What we're looking at right now is actually the ability to personalize fax sending. So we looked at being able to use a fax address book, but what happens when people fat finger their fax? We can be able to do validation rules on different types of data here, just a fax number to be able to say, okay, well, you didn't enter in a valid fax number. I was looking for an area code plus a 7-digit number. Obviously, that can be adjusted depending upon the country that you're in. But in this case, we're looking at your standard country code, so US code. So we're looking at a 10-digit number. We're able to fax this, validate that that gets sent out. So again, the quick, simple kind of smartphone look and feel of the application, regardless of the device that you're logged into, makes it very easy for your end users to be able to pick up the application. It integrates with all the existing applications that they're used to using within their environment. So there's no additional use of a different interface or kind of a learning curve for them based upon whether they're logging into a particular manufacturer, maker, model. Now, because we only had 10 minutes, I didn't get to get into a deep dive of any of the back-end stuff or show some of the advanced functionality that we can be able to link into. But we encourage you to be able to go out and look at different aspects of our product, be able to look at the interactive online tools. So if you go to the links that you see here, you can be able to see the embedded terminal actually in action and walk through that on your own. We can look at all the documentation that we have available online through our AI assistant powered chatbot. And then there's different things on there to be able to play online games, to be able to learn about our products. Other resources are available. So if you want to be able to compare us against the competition, not just our opinion, but through either G2 or Capterra, you can look at those as well. And then we have a whole host of specific MyQX articles, things that are interesting. I picked these out, our ISO certifications, as well as digital transformation analysis on the printing industry, how it's playing a role. Or if you just want to look at general information, we certainly encourage you to go out to our main website, myq-solution.com.
James, thank you very much. That was great and great presentation. And hey, the word facts even came up. You know, who knew, right? But it's a
Still
real
there?
thing. It's a real thing still, right? If in food distribution and government, uh, lots of stuff gets transmitted via fax and fax server today. So thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
James,
All
can you
right.
stop your share there so we can have Dana bring his presentation up? Thank you.
All right. Super. Okay. So now with you is Dana Showers from Verve Corporation. And Dana, take it away.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Craig and Aaron, for making this happen. Yeah, I am Dana Showers, the president and CEO of Verve Corporation. And we make enterprise document capture software. But a little bit about me first. I have 27 years of integrating enterprise level information capture software across many industries using other companies' software. So, you know, I've integrated Captiva and various other products. I also, many years ago, worked as a data entry operator, which provides a unique perspective when designing Verve Capture and also data capture solutions. Why did we build Verve Capture? It's because certain aspects of capture solutions were never solved, such as the massive time and cost to implement complex solutions. Seemed like every solution required a custom coded solution. But Verve Capture's ability to implement as a no-code solution solves this. Our design module provides many features that make implementing Verve Capture solution painless. As an integrator of capture solutions, I actually built the product that I would want to use. So that's what we did. Also, due to consolidation, many large vendors have discontinued support for products that were highly valued by end users. And this is because of the certain features that like a data entry operator module would had that was never implemented in the newest version of a company's offerings. So what I did is I designed Verve Capture to include all of those features that I had direct feedback from users that they wanted and appreciated in their previous solutions and their current ones as well. So our product advantages is, sorry, our product Verve Capture features a complete enterprise level document capture solution that includes document scanning, document import, image conversion, classification, extraction, data entry, and export modules. Verve Capture features a fast, fully featured, and consistent data entry module, which provides key from paper, key from image, and OCR data correction. The big advantage to our module, like I previously mentioned, is that it includes built-in keyboard functions that save time that users really love. Therefore, minimal mouse usage is needed. You know, mice slow down data entry operators. Also, setup is very fast and easy with our design module. The built-in no-code extractions, validations, and custom if builder allow for minimal coding. Of course, you know, if you have an existing .NET assembly that provides a feature that you don't want to rewrite or integrate into our product in a different way, we can always call your existing .NET assembly. We also offer advanced developer help and production batch logs available within both our Verve design and entry modules. So a developer can go to a production workstation where an operator is having a problem and see the actual log that the production process created as at the time at the operator's workstation. So let's take a look at what this would look like real quick. This is our data entry module. It has different features that I don't have time to get into right now, but I do want to just point out a few key things that I've already mentioned. And it's basically the idea is how do we get a no-code solution with complex data capture? And this is a CMS medical claim form. And I view medical claims as the most difficult solution to implement in data capture.
Dana?
So, yes.
I'm sorry. Were you meaning to display that medical form?
Yes, it did not
okay,
show.
We're seeing your slide. Your question
okay.
slide.
I'll have to stop sharing and then reshare, I guess.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Give me 1 second.
And okay, how's that?
We can see it now. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Aaron. So again, this is our data entry module. And like I said, this is a CMS form, and this is the data entry screen. And so what I want to point out is how we are able to implement no code. Now, there's a lot of information on this screen, so just focus on what I'm pointing out. Otherwise, you might be overwhelmed. So for each field, we have extraction stories, and we have the built-in extractions. All the list of extractions are, there's tons of these things. And so if there's a problem with this from date field, if the data did not get extracted properly, you can look at our log from the group, the table processing. You can look at the log from the actual extraction process, that's OCR, or you can look at the log from the data validation process. So we have, everything that you need to diagnose and tweak this validation or this extraction or these table settings is available to the developer at all times, both in our design module and also in our data entry module. So that's how we are able to implement a no-code solution when it comes to support. Now, the hardest thing to do with the reason why custom coded solutions are needed is because data validations are never, they're 99% of the time, they're straightforward. But there's always that one case where you want the field to be validated as a date, but certain circumstances, you want the data operator to be able to override that. So what we have is this built-in double key bypass feature, which if you key the date wrongly, whoops. It will flag the field in orange and tell you that it does not contain a valid date. And then if you hit the enter key, if you type the same thing again, it will allow you to go past that field. And that is how we implement the no-code solution within data validations in Verve. And that is one of the keys to actually being able to implement a completely no-code solution versus 99% no-code. Let's see. And also if you'll notice that our design module looks very much like our data entry module. And that's on purpose. So that way the developer can get a really good feel for how the data entry operator is going to do their job. I wanted to keep this nice and short and sweet, so that's all I'm going to cover today. Let me just finish up with this. It can be this easy. The key is to get all the information in front of the developer that they need to build, diagnose, and support a custom capture application without coding, and also to provide a reliable data entry interface with many built-in keyboard functions that speed data entry. And again, I didn't get to show those today, but certainly, contact me later and I can provide a custom demo. Also, another nice feature that we offer is that all operator and developer training is available on YouTube and our website under the education tab on our website. But definitely reach out, contact me if you would like to see how this would actually work in your real world production environment. Thank you. Aaron, Craig.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate that. All right, so we're nearing the close of our sessions here today, and actually I'm up. So along with Benjamin Allen from SWILab, and we have a very important announcement to make here today. So yes, I have a day job and CEO of AIIM Global. So we're together today to make a very special partnership integration announcement, and that's all about how we formalize between AIIM Global and SWILab, and in increasing flow power, and really this power step could not come at a better time than this one, because we're combining the capabilities of our own from AIIM Global IDP capture, as we call it, and IDP flow platforms with the technology provided by SWILab. And that's to fully give the SaaS flow capability that matches real business processes. So a lot of people know me as a capture guy, a flow guy, but I've really found that it's very important that in discovering that most of the companies that are evaluated on solution product review sites have erroneously put all their capabilities around electronic signature at the forefront, and really becomes kind of a pseudo disguise for their solution, not having any real workflow capability to show. So I'll introduce you to Benjamin Allen, for those who do not know Benjamin.
Very nice to meet you all. And like Craig was saying, I think it's a very important partnership, particularly now, and very relevant to a lot of the conversations that we were having previously, particularly in the review of kind of what we learned from the AIIM conference. And so just at a high level, SWILab was developed, and I brought it to market because I spent a lot of years on the other side of the table, being the person who would truly benefit from proper data management, proper ingest, everything that we're talking about here today. But it wasn't accessible, and it was growing into the industry, as we were talking about previously, where there are going to be multiple solutions, and that we can't necessarily combine them all in one place, or at least put every single bit of functionality under one roof. And so SWILab was developed to encompass and connect and consolidate from an interaction perspective for people who are a little bit less technical, like those actually using the data once it's in the system. Combine all of those engines and powers in one place so that the executives, the people using it, the people in the departments, the people making real use of the data once it's in a spreadsheet or once it's in their particular system, they can actually get real-time data. They can start using that data. They can report in real time. You're not running around. It's not someone's full-time job to generate reports. And it can really integrate with a lot of these systems in a way that provides that single, clean, and usable interface. And that's why partnering with Craig and with AIIM Global, a set of industry veterans, really enabled SWI Lab to start powering solutions in this particular space.
Absolutely. So we're going to show you a little bit of a video of how it works, and in the sake of time, and really tell you that AIIM Global, as Benjamin mentioned, with our experience, and of course, as noted, we represent the TCG process capabilities, and so we utilize that as a very key feature, but we can do very simple, nimble flow platform. So it's really become the culmination of hours of the SWI Lab team and charting real practical use cases and real clear communication in the approval process. And I've been known to describe this in over 10 plus years as communicate, acknowledge, and approve, or in short, CAA for CYA. So Benjamin, let's go ahead and show them.
Not a problem.
AIIM Global offers the best way to automate end-to-end business operations, including the capture, lifecycle, and payment of corporate invoices. Easily capture documents, whether received by email, shared file storage, integration with your existing systems, or even drag and drop files directly from your PC. Because AIIM is powered by SWI Lab, it doesn't stop there. All of your data is intelligently extracted, not only for safe cloud storage, but used to automatically generate unique workflows tailored to your business at the click of a button. Interactive dashboards allow real-time visibility of the entire process and enable anyone to get reliable information across multiple sources. View global data or find what you need in the moment instantly, so you can make informed decisions from anywhere. Ditch the headache of multiple logins and portals by taking advantage of robust HR management tools, and because your entire team is using one unified platform. Invoice approvals, notifications, internal communication, everything works together instantaneously. Assemble approval checks, business automations, exceptions, and more without wasting countless service hours, and easily streamline workflows that are as unique as your business. Activity tracking makes auditing painless, while digestible reports allow you to dive as deeply into your data as necessary, down to the last detail. Choosing AIIM means you can provide your team with a single product, powerful enough for advanced businesses, while simple enough for first-time employees. Ditch the spreadsheets and get everyone on the same page with a single, end-to-end business and workflow solution. For more information, schedule a demonstration today and see how quickly AIIM can finally make your team happy.
Thank you, Benjamin, and we greatly appreciate it. And any questions you might have, certainly you know where to find me, right? So, and Benjamin as well. So I'm going to put my AIM Florida president hat back on and sincerely thank everyone for your great participation here today, to our sponsor presenters, exhibitor presenters, and special thanks to AIM International, Tori. Greatly appreciate all of your support. And in a nutshell, this is what we're here to do for you as the Florida chapter and AIM International, and greatly appreciate your attendance here today. We get to let you go right on time, so we'd love to entertain questions, but feel free to reach out to us with any questions you might have, and wishing everyone a fantastic rest of your week, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Shiny Ducks.